More than 60 years, Brits have been sold the dream of a new paradise life in Australia. Every year, nearly 30,000 people emigrate there, and many head for the vibrant city of Sydney. Attracted to the harbour lifestyle, the sunshine, and the 70 beaches up and down the coast. We'll go on shift with Nurse Dell at Sydney's busiest A&E department.
So, whilst under the influence of alcohol, you thought that practically raw burger is a good idea.
We'll meet Karen and Ali as they fulfil a lifelong dream.
Appears to be an Australian.
You got that too?
We'll spend time with new dad Andrew as he comes to terms with the cost of living in Sydney.
I will always have something to complain about. I'm British.
And we'll discover the reality of a dream life down under. Australia is a country renowned for its love of the outdoors, whether it's playing at the beach or exploring the outback. But that outdoor lifestyle can be a dangerous one, and medical professionals can face challenges very different to those in the UK. 38-year-old Dell from West London is a senior specialist nurse in St Vincent's busy A&E department.
I mean, we're very close to the beaches here, so compared to London hospitals, we never saw things like surfboard injuries, near drownings from the beach, people getting drunk and going to the beach, jellyfish stings and things like that, some tropical diseases which tend to come from either the north of the country or overseas, Asia in particular. So there are some unique dynamics to working here, but the fundamentals are generally the same.
Dell is one of over 5,000 nurses who leave the UK every year to work overseas. For many, the chance to scrub up down under is too good to resist.
I did my training in the early 90s at West Middlesex Hospital, just not very far away from Heathrow Airport. Came to Australia for a holiday, decided to try and give it a go for a year, which was 14 years ago.
Dell is far from being the only Pom in St Vincent's A&E.
Well, look, this is our roster, and there's approximately 80, maybe 85 nurses on there, ranging from the senior management down to the student nurses. Probably 10 people would be English or Scottish.
And Dell thinks it's not just the good weather that draws people to Oz.
Traditionally, the Australians are far more laid back and casual. They're not quite so uptight.
Where's she gone?
The way in which the patients and the doctors and the nursing and the medical staff interacted was almost the way you would speak to a friend or a family member. So that was quite refreshing. It wasn't something that I was quite used to back in the UK, where it was I'm the doctor, I'm the nurse, and you're the patient.
That's one of our registrars who's recently got married and just had a baby. Go figure.
Nurses like Dell are part of a much wider migration from Britain to Australia. Last year, 16,000 Brits arrived in Australia with a one-year working visa. But once that's up, many will want to turn a working holiday into something more permanent. Karen and Ali have been here for 6 years and understand why so many Brits want to stay.
I think if you want to make a go of it, there are opportunities here.
Yeah, if you're looking for a new start, you've got a bit of motivation to work hard and to establish yourself. Then there are lots of good opportunities here for you.
Originally from a village in Berkshire, Ali is an engineer, while Karen, who came from just outside Belfast, works in catering.
I moved out initially on a year's visa and ended up doing some extra study, complete change in career, and met Alistair, ended up staying.
6 years later, all married?
Yep, all married.
But they no longer just want to be Brits working in Oz. So tomorrow they become Australian citizens.
From this day forward, under God, I pledge my loyalty to Australia and its people. I share in its democratic beliefs. No. Oh, no. No, whose democratic beliefs I share. Whose rights and liberties I respect. This last bit always gets me.
And whose laws?
Whose laws I will uphold and obey. I better get this right for tomorrow, otherwise I am in trouble.
To be eligible for citizenship, you must be a permanent resident for at least 2 years. But getting that visa is a lengthy and expensive process.
A lot of people seem to have this misconception that it's really easy to get a visa to come to Australia. It is not easy at all. You have to prove everything and need evidence of everything.
Because Karen and I didn't come out together, we had to sort of prove the legitimacy of our going in together. We had to get, old Valentine's cards and wedding invitations and thank you cards, removal documents, everything there to try and prove that we're a legitimate couple.
It can be a very lengthy and very expensive process because you've got to pay for medicals, x-rays, the solicitor that looked after things for you. So it's really quite an expensive ordeal.
I think all up was about $7,000.
Spending just under £5,000 on getting citizenship is just one example of how costly living in Oz can be. Watson's Bay is at the tip of the southern shore of Sydney, and its ocean views and harbour beaches put it in the top 5 most expensive places to live in the city. Britt, Andrew and his Aussie wife Kat have spent the last 2 years living here in a small one-bedroom apartment.
Your hands are freezing.
It's cold out there. Oh, did you go underneath the bed? No? Okay.
But the arrival of their first child, Isambard, means they need more room, and that means giving up their prestigious location.
We turn around and we look north, and you've got Manly just over to the right-hand side. This is the one thing I'm going to miss. I'm definitely going to miss this view. I can't say anything else. I really will miss it. We knew this, that we were going to have to move eventually. We couldn't always stay in our nice little one-bedroom apartment outlooking the Pacific Ocean, that we were going to have to move somewhere bigger. And just because of the way things are in Sydney, that it was going to have to be somewhere where no one else wants to go, which is further west. Just because rents will be cheaper, the homes will be bigger, and we'll just get an awful lot more for our money that we would get here.
Originally from Manchester, Andrew met Aussie wife Kat while they were both working in London. They moved to Australia in 2010 and Isambard was born soon after. However, after 2 years here, Andrew's getting a bit of a reputation for complaining about life down under.
What do I get called? For complaining about whinging Pom. It's the first thing I get. So I've literally got to a point now where I bite my tongue before I open my mouth about something. What do I miss about the UK? TV. Sad thing to say, but yeah, definitely TV. Culture. Oh God, yeah, culture. I've forgotten about that. Transport is a bugbear. It takes 40 minutes to do 8 kilometres for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Snow, cold. God, I miss a real winter. It rains here a lot, especially in the winter.
There's even more for Andrew to complain about. Sydney is one of the most expensive cities in the world, with average house prices at around 8 times the average salary. Moving to a bigger home is just adding to the expense.
We've bought the bed. I've already got the dryer downstairs because, well, there's no radiators here to dry your clothes on, so you need a dryer.
We have washing lines in our huge backyards. I'd never owned a dryer in my life until I went to the UK.
Really?
I didn't understand I don't even understand how they work.
Every year, over 7,000 Brits return home from Oz. But despite his reservations, Andrew, with the help of friend Nico, is going ahead with his move to a bigger house.
Well, it's not I can't move back, of course I can, but it's 2 years in now, determined to make a go of it. I'm not going to quit just because something's not particularly the way that I envisaged it to be. I could say my son was born here now. He may well say, well, I was born in Australia, why didn't we stay there? I'd much rather be there, so...
From that respect, I think let's give him a chance rather than us. We've made our choices and that he can make his own in the future. We shouldn't really force our feelings onto him about how we see things going. That's it. That's it.
Andrew and Kat hope their new home will be the ideal place to raise a family. But will they be happy in their new life in the Sydney suburbs?
He's hoping my stuff gets there.
Life in Sydney is centred around the harbour. Its most famous landmarks are the bridge and the Opera House, whilst for many the daily commute involves hopping on a ferry. It's certainly one of the attractions for Brits Karen and Ali.
We just live up the street, about 5 minutes up the street. Walk through the park, and then up to the ferry point. Get the 7 o'clock ferry. Jump on the catamaran, go onto the top deck, taking the sights on the way into work. Yeah, it's not a bad little start to the day.
And it's not just the daily commute that they love about Sydney. Both successful professionals, they appear to be living what many Brits would call the Aussie dream.
This is our pool. This complex pool that we share with other people. I suppose it's one thing that you do associate with Australian life, because you see it in Neighbours, you see it in Home and Away, and a lot of people do have them, so it really is quite a bit of everyday life here, It's not really considered a luxury here.
In fact, 1 in 4 Australian households has a pool.
When friends come to visit or when family come to visit, it's so nice for them to be able to share in this as well, because you do get used to it after a while.
Later today, Karen and Ali will be securing their future in Oz by becoming citizens, but they both know that there are challenges ahead.
Right now, we live in an apartment which is close to the beach. It's not very big, but it's close to the beach. We've got a pool. So we do have nice things, but we compromise even now in space. So if we want to buy, we'll probably not buy a place with a pool or close to the beach because we can't afford it.
For food lovers, Sydney is a top destination, with 3 of the world's highest rated restaurants found here. It's become famous for its fusion of Western and Eastern flavours. But at St Vincent's A&E, Nurse Dell's latest patient is not a happy diner.
Unwell since this morning, is that right? With a bit of nausea and vomiting?
A bit.
Do you think
the most spectacular projectile vomiting I've ever been associated with.
Do you think it could be food poisoning?
It is.
Oh, it is?
It is.
What did you eat?
An underdone burger.
Yours or somebody else's? You've only got yourself to blame?
I only have myself to blame. Yeah.
So, whilst under the influence of alcohol, you thought that practically raw burger is a good idea.
And I've always believed I have a cast iron stomach, but apparently not.
You live and learn.
Oh, I know, but you'd think at 40 you would have learned.
Alright, this is going to be a very sharp sting.
Over time, Dell's role has changed, and he's had to equip himself with skills that may previously have been considered outside a nurse's remit.
The reality is that in the emergency department, if you left everything for what was once considered the domain of the doctor, not very much would get done, and a lot of waiting time would be unnecessary.
In order to make up for a skills shortage, Australian authorities have encouraged British nurses to relocate down under by fast-tracking visa applications and ensuring the pay they receive is better than back home.
You have to work hard. The average working week back in the UK is 37.5 hours. Here it's 40 hours a week, but the pay is much better than the UK. I don't know what my equivalent would be paid back in the UK now, but I know roughly what it is, and I'm on double that.
Despite the better money, nursing down under can be every bit as unglamorous as it can be in Britain.
Oh my God!
I know, I almost made it out.
You described it, now we've seen it. Obviously the anti-sickness medication worked wonders, because there it is.
I was feeling okay, but of course as soon as I stood up, things started to get a little bit wonky.
So as you can see, I am more than able to turn my hand to most medical emergencies. And I have to say, considering the potassium replacement is it blackcurrant?
Yeah.
It actually doesn't smell too bad.
Even with the odd, unpleasant job, Dell is firmly sold on life in Australia.
There's not enough that I miss back in the UK to make me return. I don't miss working there. I have sisters here. I've got no reason to return back to the UK to stay, and certainly not at the moment anyway, and I don't envisage that that would likely ever happen.
Now, together with Peter, his partner of over 10 years, Del wants to take his commitment to Australia one step further. In 2010, adoption laws in New South Wales were changed to allow same-sex parents to adopt.
We're actively thinking about the options with regards children through fostering or adopting.
It's something we feel that we would be able to do well. We've got a nice home. Either one of us could go part-time or knock off work. Because obviously we can't have our own. Why not, make ourselves available to help others in need?
It's just about where we're going to be in the future. But if things go in the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years as the last 10 years have gone, it'll be a breeze.
20 miles away, in the Sydney suburb of East Hills, whinging Pom Andrew is also committing his future to Australia. His friends are helping him and wife Kat move into their new house, but the move has come at a price.
So where we were was Watson's Bay on the map there. So now we have to zoom out. There's the airport, which everyone will get to know when they come here. And all the way out here. Yes, there I am now. So is it 27 kilometres into the city?
It may not be their dream location, but Kat is happy enough with the compromise.
Yeah, it's certainly the start of a new era because our baby's going to learn to walk here and probably going to say his first words here, so it's going to be a significant place for him.
With their belongings moved into their new home, it's time to meet the neighbours.
God, that's going to be annoying.
I think they've taken quite a shine to you. Look, they've surrounded the front of the house.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
They're performing.
Then they're performing, putting on their...
See, there's no one out at the neighbour's house. They've come here to perform for us.
Don't he spy a gun?
Despite the noisy neighbours, Andrew finally seems happy.
It's definitely bigger than what we had. And so much more storage. Oh, I'm so happy about that. It works. It works. I can't complain. I just need to find a home for everything now. I can't complain because it's big. But I'm sure if I didn't complain, the guys would think there was something very, very wrong with me. I will always have something to complain about. I'm British.
Each year, around 120,000 people make the ultimate commitment to Australia and become citizens, and roughly 20% of them are Brits. Today, it's Karen and Ali's turn to become fully fledged Aussies.
Hi. Hey.
Thanks.
Oh, a little bit nervous.
A little bit nervous, but
exciting.
excited actually. Yeah, it feels a bit funny actually. We're really pleased to be getting our passport. It's so many opportunities now for us. It's great. I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic becoming citizens. It just opens up so many opportunities for us and get to stay here permanently, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Becoming an Australian citizen does not mean forgetting your country of birth or the country where you grew up, or its customs.
For Karen, life has come full circle as she spent a year living in Australia when she was 11.
I just loved it. I mean, what child wouldn't? You've got sunshine, it's like permanently being on holiday, and I didn't want to go back to the UK, but Mum and Dad were so homesick. I ran away at the airport, didn't want to go back, locked myself in a toilet, and my mother wasn't too pleased, but when we got back, I just hated the UK and always vowed that I would come back, and yeah.
From this time forward under God,
I pledge my loyalty to Australia and its people.
I pledge my loyalty to Australia and its people.
Whose rights and liberties I respect.
Whose rights and liberties I respect.
And whose laws I will uphold and obey.
And whose laws I will uphold and obey.
You're an Australian citizen. Congratulations.
such a privilege. Just such a privilege.
Yeah.
Really
Feels
good day.
very good.
Really good day.
We'll go and celebrate now.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Cheers, guys. Cheers, folks.
Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
How's that?
All the best. You guys next?
I'm going to try and get some of the background in this one.
That was nice. Appears to be an Australian.
You got that too?
Next time we'll meet Jimmy and Anya, who are leaving behind their English roots.
It's all quite exciting. I'm nervous as well.
For a new life down under.
Feels like we've just come for a holiday.
Mother of three, Susan, who swapped Broadstairs for Botany Bay.
I've never not been homesick since I've been here. Just learnt to live with it, I guess.
And Flowerman John.
The best of British.
After 20 years, Lancashire is still home.
They're never ever going to accept you as an Aussie. Not that I want to be accepted as an Aussie.